Fix your personality and watch your life transform. When we talk about transformation, when we talk about changing our lives, most of us immediately think about external things. We think about money, relationships, career, or success. We think, if only I had that job, if only I had that person, if only I had that opportunity, my life would be different. But let me ask you something. How can your life truly change if deep inside you are still rejecting yourself? How can you walk confidently in the world when every day you are hiding behind a mask? The truth is, the first step to transformation is not about fixing the world outside of you. It begins by fixing the way you see yourself. It begins with acceptance. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But it is one of the hardest things to do. Because from the time we are children, we are told who we should be. We are told what is beautiful, what is smart, what is successful, and slowly, we start believing that our worth depends on how well we fit into someone else's definition. But let me tell you this, your worth is not negotiable. Your value does not decrease because of someone's inability to see it. When you accept yourself with your strengths, your weaknesses, your scars, and your stories, you reclaim your power. I want you to think for a moment about the parts of yourself you try to hide. Maybe it's your body, maybe it's your voice, maybe it's your past. And I want to tell you, those very things you try to hide are often the things that make you most human, most relatable, most powerful. Why do we think perfection inspires people? It doesn't. Authenticity does. Think about it. When you meet someone who is polished, flawless, and always perfect, do they move you? Maybe they impress you, but do they move you? No. The people who touch our hearts are those who show us their vulnerability, who stand in front of the world saying, "This is me. I am not perfect. I am not flawless. But I am enough." Acceptance does not mean you stop growing. It does not mean you stop improving. It means you stop fighting with yourself. It means you stop calling yourself names in your head. It means you stop delaying your happiness until you fix everything about yourself. Acceptance is not the end of growth. It is the beginning of peace. And let me tell you, when you stop rejecting yourself, something magical happens. The world around you changes. Because people learn how to treat you by watching how you treat yourself. If you walk into a room constantly apologizing for existing, people will treat you like a burden. But if you walk in owning your story, your presence will demand respect. I remember once a young girl came up to me after a talk. She was shy, hiding behind her hair, barely looking into my eyes. She said, "I don't feel beautiful. I don't feel enough." And I looked at her and said, "Who told you that you are not enough? Who gave them that authority over your life? You are already enough. The only permission you need is your own." Tears filled her eyes, and in that moment, I realized something. So many of us are carrying invisible prisons built by other people's opinions. And the key to those prisons is in our own hands. But we are too afraid to use it. Acceptance is unlocking that prison. Acceptance is saying, "I am tired of pretending. I am tired of being at war with myself. I choose to be free." So today, I want you to imagine yourself standing in front of a mirror. Not the mirror on your wall, but the mirror of your soul. What do you see? Do you see flaws, mistakes, regrets? Or do you see someone who has survived? Someone who is still standing despite everything, someone who deserves to be loved. Not tomorrow, not when they achieve something, but right now. Accept yourself completely. Accept your body, even if it does not look like the photoshopped images on magazine covers. Accept your mind, even if it works differently from others. Accept your past, even if it is filled with pain, because that pain has given you wisdom. Accept your scars, because they are proof that you were broken but you healed. Life will transform not when you become someone else, but when you finally have the courage to be yourself. And the moment you accept yourself, you stop chasing validation. You stop waiting for the world to approve of you. You start living your own truth. Remember, acceptance is not weakness. It is strength. It takes courage to look at yourself honestly and say, "I love me as I am." And when you find that courage, when you start living from a place of acceptance, something shifts. Your relationships improve because you no longer cling to people out of insecurity. Your career grows because you show up authentically, not pretending to be someone else. Your inner peace deepens because you are no longer running from yourself. This is the first step of transformation. This is the foundation. Before you choose positivity, before you build resilience, before you live with purpose, you must first accept who you are. Because without that, every other change will only be temporary, only be a mask. So today, I invite you, don't wait for the world to clap for you before you accept yourself. Don't wait for achievements. Don't wait for someone's approval. Look at yourself and say, once you learn to accept yourself, the next step is to decide how you want to show up in the world. And that decision, my friends, is not made once in a lifetime. It is made every single morning when you wake up. You and I, we don't have control over what life throws at us. We don't get to choose our challenges, our circumstances, or the storms that come our way. But we do get to choose one thing. We get to choose our attitude. We get to choose how we respond. And that choice, the choice of positivity, changes everything. I often say, positivity is not about ignoring the pain. It is about refusing to let the pain control your life. There's a big difference. Some people think being positive means you should never cry, never feel sad, never admit that you are hurting. That's not positivity, that's denial. Real positivity is when you acknowledge, yes, I am in pain. Yes, things are difficult, but I will not allow this situation to steal my hope. Think of it this way, life is like a camera. You cannot always control the light, the background, or who enters the frame. But you can focus on what matters. You can choose where to direct your lens. And positivity is exactly that, a shift of focus. Now, let me be honest with you. Choosing positivity is not easy. It is one of the hardest battles you will ever fight, because negativity is tempting. Complaining is easy. Playing the victim feels comfortable. It takes no effort to sit and say, why me? Life is unfair. Nothing ever works out. Anyone can do that. But to stand up in the middle of chaos and say, I will still look for blessings. I will still look for growth. I will still look for light. That takes strength. That takes courage. And here's the beauty: the more you practice it, the stronger you become. Positivity is a muscle. The more you use it, the more it grows. I remember meeting a man who had lost both of his legs in an accident. He told me, people always pity me, but I am grateful. I asked him, grateful for what? He smiled and said, because I lost my legs, not my life. Because I lost something, but not everything. His words stayed with me. He chose to see what remained, not what was taken away. That is positivity. That is power. And I want you to think about your own life. How many times do you focus only on what is missing, what is broken, what didn't work out? And how would your life feel different if, instead, you started focusing on what is still here, what is still working, what is still possible? Let me give you a simple example. Imagine two people stuck in traffic. One sits in the car, angry, honking, cursing, raising his blood pressure. The other turns on music, maybe makes a phone call to a loved one, maybe uses the time to reflect. Both are in the same situation. But their experiences are completely different. Why? Because of choice, because of attitude. And this is where positivity becomes life-changing. When you choose positivity every day, you start creating a different reality. Not because the world changes, but because you change. Suddenly challenges become lessons. Failures become teachers. Setbacks become comebacks. But here's the most important part: positivity is contagious. Just as negativity spreads, so does positivity. Your smile can shift someone's entire day. Your words of encouragement can give someone hope. And your choice to remain calm in chaos can inspire others to do the same. Sometimes people say, why should I be positive when everything is falling apart? And I say, because positivity is not about your circumstances. It is about your spirit. You don't wait for things to get better before you choose positivity. You choose positivity so things have a chance to get better. Remember this: your mind is like a garden. If you water seeds of negativity, fear, doubt, anger, they will grow. But if you water seeds of gratitude, hope, and kindness, they will grow too. The question is, what seeds are you watering every day? So tomorrow, when you wake up, before you grab your phone, before you let the noise of the world enter your mind, take a moment. Ask yourself, what kind of day do I want to create? And then choose it. Choose positivity, not because life is perfect, but because your heart deserves peace. And when you make this choice every day, slowly your life transforms. Not because the storms stop coming, but because you learn how to dance in the rain. Not because problems disappear, but because your perspective gives you power over them. And that power, the power of positivity, is what carries you forward to resilience, to kindness, to purpose. It is the bridge between self-acceptance and the life you are meant to live. Once you begin to accept yourself and you choose positivity every day, the next step of transformation is found in the way you interact with others. Because the truth is, no matter how strong or independent we are, life is not meant to be lived alone. We are constantly communicating, through our words, our actions, even our silence. And if you want your life to transform, you must learn to communicate with kindness. Now, let me clarify something. Kindness is not weakness. Many people mistake the two. They think if you are kind, people will take advantage of you. They think kindness means you always say yes, or that you let others walk all over you. But real kindness is strength. Real kindness is when you have the power to hurt someone with your words, but you choose to heal them instead. Real kindness is when you could remain silent and indifferent, but you choose to acknowledge and uplift. I remember once after one of my talks, a young boy approached me. He looked nervous, and before he could say anything, I smiled and said, "I'm so happy you came." His whole face lit up. Later he told me, "I was so scared to come talk to you, but your smile gave me courage." That is the power of simple kindness. It changes the atmosphere. It opens doors. It makes people feel seen. We often underestimate the impact of our words. But let me tell you, words are not just sounds, they are seeds. Every word you speak plants something in the heart of the person listening. And the question is, are you planting flowers or are you planting thorns? Think about it. One harsh comment can break someone's confidence for years. One sarcastic remark can make a child feel unworthy. But one word of encouragement, one simple, "I believe in you," can give someone the strength to keep going when they want to give up. That is how powerful our communication is. And kindness is not only about how we speak to others. It is also about how we listen. In today's world, everyone wants to be heard, but very few want to listen. We rush, we interrupt, we prepare our answers while the other person is still talking. But sometimes, kindness is not in giving advice, it is in giving presence. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give is to simply sit with someone, look them in the eye, and say, "I am here, I am listening." And kindness is not limited to strangers or audiences. It starts at home. How many times do we speak more gently to strangers than we do to our own family? How many times do we save our politeness for colleagues, but raise our voices at the people we love most? Communication with kindness means consistency. It means the same respect you show to a stranger in public. You show to your spouse, your children, your parents behind closed doors. But let me also remind you, kindness is not about sugarcoating everything. Sometimes kindness means telling the truth, even when it is hard. The difference is in the way you deliver it. You can correct someone with cruelty, or you can correct someone with compassion. One destroys trust, the other builds it. And yes, kindness must also extend to yourself. Many of us speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to another human being. We call ourselves stupid, ugly, failure. Imagine if you had a friend who spoke to you the way you sometimes speak to yourself. Would you keep that friend? Of course not. So why do you allow yourself to live under such cruelty? Communicate with kindness not only outwardly, but inwardly. When you make mistakes, speak to yourself the way you would comfort a friend. It's okay. You can try again. You are learning. That is kindness too. When you begin to communicate with kindness, relationships shift, conflicts de-escalate, trust grows, doors open, and most importantly, your inner world becomes lighter because you are not carrying the weight of regret from words spoken in anger. Let me give you a small challenge for the next 7 days. Before you speak, ask yourself one question. Will my words heal or will they hurt? If the answer is heal, go ahead and say it. If the answer is hurt, pause. Choose differently. Because words once spoken cannot be taken back. And the beauty of kindness is that it multiplies. One kind word can ripple out into countless acts of kindness. You may never even know the impact your words had. But that is the legacy of kindness. It continues long after the conversation is over. So if you truly want to see your life transform, look at how you communicate. Look at the tone you use, the words you choose, the attention you give. Because communication is not just about exchanging information. It is about exchanging energy. And when your energy is kindness, you don't just transform your own life. You transform the lives of everyone around you. And this transformation of communication lays the foundation for the next step, the step of resilience, where your words to yourself and others become your anchor in the storms of life. We've talked about accepting yourself. We've talked about choosing positivity. We've talked about communicating with kindness. But let me tell you, none of that will matter if you do not learn how to stand tall when life tries to knock you down. Because storms will come, challenges will come, pain will come, and in those moments you have two choices. You can build excuses, or you can build resilience. Let me be very honest with you, excuses are easy. When something doesn't work out, it's easy to say, "I couldn't do it because I didn't have enough time, because no one supported me, because life was unfair." And maybe all those things are true. But excuses, no matter how true they sound, do not change your life. They keep you stuck exactly where you are. Resilience, on the other hand, is difficult. It demands that you face your pain. It demands that you rise even when you are tired. It demands that you keep going even when you don't feel like it. But here's the beauty: resilience transforms you. Resilience takes your wounds and turns them into wisdom. Resilience takes your failures and turns them into fuel. Think of a seed planted deep in the soil. It is dark, it is buried, it feels heavy. But instead of giving up, that seed pushes through the dirt, reaches for the sunlight, and grows into a tree. That is resilience. Life will bury you at times, but resilience is your ability to rise from that darkness and keep growing. I want you to remember something: resilience is not about never falling. It is about how quickly you get back up. Some people think resilience means you never cry, you never break, you never struggle. That's not true. Resilience is when you allow yourself to cry, but you still continue. You allow yourself to break, but you rebuild stronger. You allow yourself to struggle, but you never surrender. And I'll tell you this: resilience is built in small moments, not just big ones. Every time you choose to try again after failing, you are building resilience. Every time you choose to keep walking even when the road feels long, you are building resilience. Every time you choose to say, "This is hard, but I will not give up," you are building resilience. It's like a muscle. You strengthen it by using it. But here's the trap many of us fall into: we confuse excuses with reasons. We convince ourselves, "I have a reason not to try." But let me remind you, there will always be reasons. If you wait for life to be perfect, you will wait forever. If you wait for the right time, you will wait forever. Resilience is not waiting for the storm to pass. It is learning how to dance in the rain. I remember speaking to a woman who had faced countless failures in her career. She told me, "Every time I failed, I wanted to quit. But then I thought, if I quit, I will only be carrying two pains, the pain of failure and the pain of regret. But if I keep going, at least I have a chance of victory." That is resilience. Choosing not to add regret to your pain. Choosing to fight one more day. And let me also say, this resilience is not something you build alone. Sometimes resilience is leaning on others when you cannot stand on your own. Sometimes resilience is saying, "I need help," instead of pretending to be strong. Asking for support is not weakness, it is wisdom. Because resilience is not about pretending you are invincible. It is about refusing to let your struggles defeat you. But here is where the magic happens: when you build resilience, your entire perspective changes. You stop seeing challenges as punishments. You start seeing them as opportunities. You stop asking, "Why me?" And you start asking, "What can this teach me?" You stop seeing pain as the end and start seeing it as the beginning of something new. And the truth is, the people who inspire us most are not those who lived easy lives. They are the ones who faced unimaginable difficulties, yet chose resilience over excuses. They remind us that no matter how heavy life becomes, the human spirit is stronger. So I want to ask you today, what excuses have you been holding on to? What stories are you telling yourself that keep you from moving forward? And I want to challenge you. Replace those excuses with resilience. Instead of saying, "I can't," ask, "How can I?" Instead of saying, "It's too hard," remind yourself, "Hard is not impossible." Instead of saying, "I'll never make it," tell yourself, "I will take one more step." Resilience is not about becoming unbreakable. It is about becoming unshakable. It is about knowing that even if the storm bends you, it will not end you. And when you learn to live with that spirit, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and you start being the author of your story. And that, my friends, is what transforms not only your journey, but also the lives of everyone who looks to you as an example. Because resilience is contagious. When people see you standing tall despite your struggles, they find the courage to stand too. And this courage, this resilience, naturally leads to the next step in transformation, the step of living with purpose, where every experience, every challenge, every victory becomes part of a bigger story. You've accepted yourself. You've chosen positivity. You've learned to communicate with kindness. You've built resilience instead of excuses. And now comes the final step, the step that ties everything together. One of the biggest thieves of joy in today's world is comparison. We compare our lives to the filtered snapshots we see on social media. We compare our progress to someone else's timeline. We compare our chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. And every time we do this, we forget a simple truth. Your journey is not meant to look like anyone else's. Comparison is a trap because no matter how much you achieve, there will always be someone who seems to be ahead. If you measure your worth by other people's success, you will always feel behind, always feel less, always feel empty. But when you live with purpose, you stop competing with others and start competing with yourself. You stop asking, am I better than them? And you start asking, am I becoming better than who I was yesterday? Purpose is what gives meaning to your pain. Purpose is what gives direction to your success. Purpose is what allows you to wake up in the morning with clarity instead of confusion. I want you to imagine a candle. A candle does not compare its flame to another candle. It simply shines. And in shining, it lights up the room. That is what it means to live with purpose. To shine your light, no matter how small it may seem, because the world needs it. But here's the important part. Your purpose does not have to be something grand. It doesn't have to be about becoming famous or making headlines. Purpose is not always about changing the whole world. It is about changing someone's world. Maybe your purpose is raising a kind child. Maybe your purpose is serving your community. Maybe your purpose is creating art, teaching healing, or simply spreading love wherever you go. And the truth is, purpose is discovered not in comfort but in struggle. Often, the very things that break you become the things that shape you. The very pain you thought would end you becomes the path that defines you. That is why comparison is so dangerous. It distracts you from your own story, your own lessons, your own calling. I remember once a woman asked me, how do I find my purpose? And I told her, stop looking outward, start looking inward. Purpose is not something you chase outside yourself. It is something you uncover within yourself. It is already there, waiting to be lived. And once you begin to live with purpose, you start to see transformation everywhere. Your energy changes. Your relationships change. Your outlook on life changes. Because when you live with purpose, you stop being controlled by fear. You stop being paralyzed by failure. You stop being distracted by comparison. You begin to walk your own path with confidence. And here is the most beautiful part. When you live with purpose, you don't just transform your own life. You inspire others to do the same. Your courage gives someone else courage. Your light gives someone else hope. Your story gives someone else permission to embrace their own. So today I want to leave you with this message of stop comparing, start living. Stop chasing someone else's dream. Start honoring your own. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start living your purpose now. Because life is not measured by how well you compete with others. It is measured by how fully you live the life that was given to you. You see, transformation is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming the fullest version of yourself. And that happens when you accept yourself, when you choose positivity, when you communicate with kindness, when you build resilience, and when you live with purpose. So my question to you is this: when will you stop waiting? When will you stop comparing? When will you start living your purpose? Because the day you do, you will discover something extraordinary. Your life doesn't just change. Your life begins to shine. And when your life shines, you don't only transform yourself. You transform everyone who has the privilege of crossing your path.